What is up guys, Andy Forrester Dean Runner here. Welcome back to another video. It's a race vlog day today. We are down at Hereford for the Hereford Christmas 10k. Right, my bacon has been saved by Rachel. Unbelievable, I'm so grateful. So we've got here this morning. It's been horrifically raining for a long time. And yeah, the rugby club is flooded, which is where we start. So they're moving the start and everything. There is now no bag drop. So I was dropped off this morning by my wife and kids with my bag and I had nowhere to dump it. So Rachel, as I said, fellow YouTuber, subscribe to her channel. She produces some great stuff out there. She has very kindly let me dump her back in the car. So I'm dropping it in the boot and yeah, that's it. That is all there is to it. I'm running out of time. Quick warm up, get down to the start and we'll get the show on the road. Alright, so just getting a quick warm up done. Just gonna get a mile done because it's all been a bit of a rush. I'm so grateful to Rachel and her chap. They did put a statement out on Facebook, so it's all good, but I was driving so I didn't have a chance to look, so very grateful. So yeah, about 12 minutes to the start. Gonna get this mile or so almost done. Just do an easy out, steady back, do some strides, and it's go time. Good job, mate. Well done, buddy.
Well done, man. Well done.
Good man, thank you. Good job, matey. Well done, mate. Alright, so race done, finished, and I'm walking out into Hereford town to meet the family. So grateful for Rachel again and her fella for letting me stash my bag in their car. That could have been a disaster, but a great race overall. 5th place, 34.38 according to my watch. So I'll give you a proper debrief shortly. Just going to try and find the family and have a coffee. So there we go, had a sit down, had a nice coffee. Back in the office, it's the next day now, so I want to go through a race debrief with you and then share a couple of stats, which I'm really happy with that came out of that run. Very quickly, massive shout out to Hereford Couriers. Brilliant race as always. It's one that I would do every single year, and I would urge anybody local to do it as well. 2019 was the last time I did it, 2020 was COVID, 2021 I was ill, 2022 I was injured, or the other way round. So it's really nice to get back there this year. I just find it such a good race to go and bust the rust after Christmas. Go out there, burn off some of the excess food that I've eaten. I've still got loads of food at home to eat, but it felt good to go and put in a really good hard effort. And the race itself was brilliant. It's a hard race, I'm not gonna lie. It's undulating, but I mean, there are some good little hills in there. Good little, maybe medium length, I don't know. There's some real challenges there, but the weather also wasn't great. So let's go through a race debrief and then I'll share some stats that I'm really proud of. So plan B was to start on Great Western Way, which is a narrower cycle path. I think it's like an old railway line that they've converted into a cycle path. About 4 or 5 runners wide and very muddy verges. So it's a lot thinner than what plan A was, which was the rugby club, which was completely flooded and impassable. So I will say a massive shout out to Hereford Couriers for being able to have a plan B and putting the race on. We're very grateful. That first stretch is a bit tricky with all of us runners. There was 369 that finished that day. I know over 400 entered. So there was a good chunk of runners there that were hurtling down this first straight. And what I did at the start was I just set myself back off the front and I thought, I don't want to kind of hurtle off. I'm going to kind of spread my wings a little bit, give myself some space. I'm a big guy anyway, but I give myself some space. Cautiously kind of leapt off the line like Bambi to try not to get my heels clipped. Kind of cleared some room around me and just kind of stayed there because I knew that that stretch was only 100 meters or so, and then you do a turn up a little slope and you're out onto the main road. So once you got out of that bit, all was good. And the first half mile is uphill, so I could see straight away there were 4 runners ahead that were in a league of their own. And then there was just a big group of people, and I could hear a lot of people breathing hard already. So I just thought to myself, I feel really good. I know I'm in relatively good shape at the moment. I need to kind of navigate my way around and try and get as far close to those 4 runners at the front as I can. Not that I ever did, but that's kind of what my target was. And towards the top of that first half mile, bit more than half mile, I think, when you peak at the top of the road, I've managed to I made a bit of a move around the top of everybody. There's a couple more people in front of me when I got to the top. You then go down, and when you go down, you then do another climb up, and then you have another decline back down the other side. And that kind of makes up the first mile and a half. I found myself behind a chap, went past him at a mile and a half, and basically that's where I stayed for the rest of the race. What was great though is I had someone behind me that I could hear most of the way, which basically didn't let me rest on my laurels. I thought to myself, I've put myself into 5th place now. I want to stay here. I don't want to get caught. So the 4 runners ahead, what happened at that point is there were another 2 that broke away from the first 2, and there was a 3rd and 4th place that I could see the whole time, which was really encouraging. And there were times when I thought, I don't know if my mind's playing tricks on me, am I catching them or not? And then there were other times I realised I wasn't, and the gap was just what it was, and there was no I was never closing them. But the other 2 completely disappeared off into the distance. So it was good to have those 2 as a target and have someone behind me chasing. And all I can say about the course is it is lumpy. And when they say undulating, I'm not going to say it's mild undulations. There are some good pitches up. There are some good hills in there that really do make you kind of really have to work. Very relieving when you get over the top, but overall it felt good. And one of the big ones comes at mile 2.5-ish. So once you get over those first sections that I talked about, you do have some relatively flat lanes before then having to go up this big hill. And at that point, when you go up there, you kind of pitch up at the top and you're pretty much at 3 miles or just shy of. And at that point, my watch was showing 5:37 average pace per mile. So I was quite happy with that, with the wind and everything. I had a lot of wind in my face at that point. So I was I was feeling good. And I got to the top of the hill, and I always practice working over the top of the hill in training. It's why I do a lot of my tempo runs and tempo workouts on the trails. I like to push and work over the hills. What I found that day was I wasn't strong on the hills going up them, but as soon as I got to the top, I felt like I could kick, not wait and gather my breath. I felt like I could crest over the hill and really push, and I felt that that was really good. So 3 miles goes past, and basically those 2 runners in front of me are still where they are. I can hear footsteps behind me. That's great, that's keeping me going. And at that point, I put the hammer down and I felt good, and I could, at that point from there to the finish, which again was just rolling, we had a couple more big decent hills in there to get to the finish. I just pushed, I just worked, and I worked with the wind and against the wind, and when the wind was really pushing in my face, I just kind of backed off a bit. And when it wasn't, I really put my foot down, and I just thought to myself at halfway, I'm already working out what's going on here. I'm not the best up the hills, but I'm really good going over them and then pushing down. So just keep that tactic up, and hopefully you won't get caught, and hopefully you can log a good time. We came up the last big hill around 6 miles, and then it's just downhill to the finish. Put the hammer down, felt really good at that point, really pushed hard. I then couldn't hear the footsteps behind me, which was great. So I thought, I've got a bit of daylight, but I'm not gonna rest. I'm gonna keep pushing, and I finished on my watch. According to my watch, it was 34:38. According to their chip timing, it was 34:28. Now, I'm going to say my watch was probably maybe a little bit closer to the real time, because I was probably like, when they said 3, 2, 1, go, I was probably like a second from going over. So maybe it was 36 or 37. I'll love to take their 28 seconds, but I think it was around that. And I was really, really happy. And when the other chap crossed the line, we had a good chat. The chap that was running behind me, and he said, oh, you know, I couldn't keep up with you when you were going down the hills. I said, yeah, that exactly summarised how I felt at the time. Rubbish going up, decent going up and over and down. So it was great to have him chasing me. Said well done to a few of the lads in front. Brilliant running by everybody, and yeah, really, really good. So I'll put my glasses on for this bit, but there's a couple of things that I just want to share with you that's made me really, really happy after this race. I ran the Newent 9 back in November, and that was around the same elevation. This shows 459 foot. It wasn't. It was around 360. It's about 100 foot less. That's what my route came up as when I ran it in 2019. That's what I agree with. Reason being, for some reason, I don't know if you can see down here, but it started me way lower, 108 foot. Compared to over here, where I finished 185. So around maybe 370, 380 foot. I started and finished in the same place is what I'm trying to say. So I'm not sure why it's showing lower here than it is here. Either way, what I wanted to share was average pace 5:31. Newent 9, just over 6 miles. So very, very similar distance, 5:38 per mile. Similar conditions, windy, but I had very much like a headwind going up the hills at Newent 9 and tailwind on the flat. This was just all over the place. I feel like the conditions here were tougher. So really happy to clock a much faster time, and the gap pace, which is the grade adjusted pace, the average is 5:21 per mile, which is amazing. This first one is a bit dubious, 4:59. I'm just not sure about that, and that can be because of the dodgy data reading at the start here with the elevation. But overall, to have most of the miles here in the 520s is really, really good. Very happy with that. And the heart rate, 165 beats a minute. Unbelievable. And there doesn't seem to be any dropouts there. And it drops a tiny bit at the end here, but that's because I was dropping down a big hill. It was all downhill to the end. It spikes in the places I expect it to. So I think the reading there, you can see here, is a good chunk as I'm going uphill, really pushes up. I maxed out at 177, but overall, 165 average, that's so low. So really, really good signs. Very, very happy with this. A really solid result. Next up, Lisry 8. I'm not doing Speedway. It's cancelled. Gutted, but it's cancelled. Managed to get a place at Lisry 8 finally, which is great. I bought a place off a runner. So I'll be lining up there on January the 21st, so I'll see you there. So yeah, that's it from this race vlog, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. Merry Christmas to all of you who celebrate it. If not, happy holidays. I hope you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you on the next one.